will go wrong. Story of my life, right? If you did a Google search on the definition of Murphy's Law, I wouldn't be surprised if my picture showed up right next to it. I'd like to introduce you to the most unluckiest person in the world, me. Now, this isn't a sob story of how sad my life is. It's just an ongoing joke that goes on in my head every time something goes wrong. There are many ways I feel that Murphy's Law applies to my life. And one of them is through a series of injuries that I've had since I was a child. None of them were life-threatening, thank God, but just enough for me to sit back and think, why me? I also thought that it would be an unconventional and entertaining way to introduce myself to you guys through my misfortunes. I was born and raised in the South Bay, in Gardena, and I attended Gardena Elementary School. That was around the time where I started getting into sports and becoming more active. In the 3rd grade, my favorite thing to do was play hide and go seek. And that's where someone would count, you would go running around, and there's a home base, so you'd get chased, and if you touch home base, you'd be safe. And on this day, home base was this pillar. And I was getting chased, running towards home base, and I thought, you know what, maybe the fastest way to get there is if I surge forward and leap for home base. So I did that, and my arms ended up going down, and I went head first right into the pillar. And I cut my head right open. Had to get about 10 to 20 stitches. I attended Perry Middle School for middle school, also in Gardena. And that was around the time, middle school where you're trying to be cool and trying to fit in. And what's more cool than riding bikes and rollerblading, especially rollerblading. So I had a buddy that lived down the street in my neighborhood, and we would ride bikes and rollerblade all the time. And I remember we were taking a break one time, I was sitting on his wall, and we're drinking some soda. So I hit my Dr. Pepper over accidentally, and I reached back for it. And I fell about 6 feet backwards onto the grass below. And I tried to get up, but I couldn't. So I looked at my arm, and I'd broken both bones in my arm, and my hand dropped below my forearm.
Oh, wow.
And that was a surge of pain. I went to North High School in Torrance. That's around, my high school years is when I was really active. I played 4 years of basketball, I ran 4 years of track. And those are, like I said, by far my most active years, but for some reason, I didn't have any serious injuries. However, Murphy's Law was definitely in full effect with the girls. Moving on to college. I attended UC Irvine where I studied political science and international business. I actually walked onto the UC Irvine track and field team where I eventually earned a scholarship. So my 2 main events were high jump and hurdles, but every once in a while, my coach would throw me into the decathlon. So I was at a multi-meet at Azusa Pacific, and I was in the 8th event, just wanting the competition to be over. It's the 2nd day, 2 more events, and it's the pole vault. So I was doing pole vault, I was doing pretty good. It wasn't my favorite event. Put the pole in, went over, got twisted in the air funny, cleared the bar, got twisted in the air funny, and my leg ended up pointing towards my left leg. My right leg ended up facing my left leg, and we wear spikes in our shoes to grip the rubber. So the impact of me hitting the mat just pushed my right leg into my left leg and completely tore open my lower leg. So all I saw there was this big gash and a shin bone. So these stories don't even scratch the surface, no pun intended, on all of the stitches, sprains, and dislocations that I've had. That would take much longer time. So if anything could have gone wrong in those situations, it definitely did for me. I'm living proof that ligaments are kind of overrated, you don't really need them, and that skin does eventually heal. There have been studies by major universities that prove that Murphy's Law is actually nonsense. Surprising, right? It proves that certain events may seem to occur often, like injuries, but they're only noticed because they're a nuisance or because they're negative. So the stories I just shared with you, those are all bad memories of my injuries, and for some reason we seem to concentrate on those. I forget that all the good things that happened. I forget that I won numerous art awards in elementary school. In middle school, I was actually chosen to play on a basketball team to travel to Japan. In high school, I became an Eagle Scout. In college, I was able to study abroad and actually graduated, which was nice. After college, I always kept a steady job, got married, and have 2 beautiful little girls. So Murphy comes along every now and then, and I blame Murphy for a lot of things. But the bumps and bruises, along with the good things that I just mentioned in life, are the things that define me and make me, me. So I guess you could say that I am the luckiest, unluckiest person in the world. Thank you.
Great job.
Good job.
Thank you, Weston, for that very informative speech. So now we know you a little better, and it's good to see you up here in one piece. So we're thankful for that.